Welcome to another episode of the Marketing School. I am Erica Martin, your host. Now, if you have seen me on social media apps like TikTok, Instagram, you will learn that I used to work for Target Corporation and I worked there for 10 years. I was in the marketing department, and at the time, way back when I was started, Target's marketing department was much smaller than it is today. I mean, there was still thousands and thousands of people, yet today, because I still have a lot of friends that work there, I was told that they now have split up many different roles. So, like what I did is now multiple roles. So, I just want to preference that before we dive into what I'm going to tell you, because you may have friends that work there now and they're like, well, this person, that job didn't exist. Well, it didn't, because it was back then. So, I worked for Target in marketing for 10 years and I learned so much from working there when it comes to marketing, when it comes to strategy. And it is how I started my business while working there. I started my business as a side hustle. I would work all day, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. I would come home, eat dinner with my family, and then I would go back to working after like kids went to bed. At the time, we had a very, very little kid. So he, slept a lot. And also, before we had kids, my husband and I would sit and work on side businesses. So we've always had this kind of mentality of having a side hustle, if you want to call it that. So that's how I started. And, I worked for Target for 10 years. And during that time, I was able to build, I probably started the side hustle, like took it really seriously the last year I was there. And then I was able to transition into what I do today full time. But let's talk a little bit about Target and all of the things when it comes to marketing and how you can then implement it into your business. So Target is very good at a few things, and understand the reason that we want to model our businesses and grab, little tiny bits from big box stores and big box retailers or any just bigger, Fortune 500 company and model what they do is because they have teams of people and they have so many dollars set aside for every little nuance when it comes to marketing that we just possibly can't do as a small business owner or, running a business by ourselves or with a really small team. So we can take pieces of that and model our business after that. There's a lesson in everything they do. And there is also, they spend a lot of time on, like, let's just talk about customer research and understanding their avatar. Like, they spend millions of dollars of putting together focus groups and all this stuff. So when I worked there, I worked on multiple different areas within, the marketing realm, as far as marketing strategy, working in the in-store marketing environment. I also worked with some digital. I did everything from going to photo shoots when it came to like infant toddler shoots to working with famous people, like bringing in all of these bigger name brands. They started to do that they call it ready to wear, but the women's area, they would bring in these big brands. I was on the team that first launched that. Worked with people like Isaac Mizrahi, Giada De Laurentiis. Let's see, some of the other people that were floating around. Nate Burkus did a lot with Nate. So met some really cool people. And I learned, like I said, a ton. Like, all of these people have staff, and you have to learn how to work with different personalities and really read people and see what is their working style and how can we get what we need out of their team. So there was a lot of really great learning moments and a lot of challenges, but let's break down a few things. So one thing that Target does, I mean, they do a lot of things really, really well, and I know there's been a lot of controversy when it comes to Target lately, as far as kind of the hiccup with some of their products. But again, I was not in the product department. I did not pick what the product was. I had to make it sellable to the customers, right? So think of when you walk in that Target store and it's Christmas time or the holiday season and you see all of that stuff hanging from the ceiling. Part of my job was to make sure that that was part of like the marketing campaign, right? People don't think of those signs being part of marketing, but they make the environment of Target that upscale, what it is. And they spent, I even did some of the buying when it comes to marketing and the in-store environment, and they spent millions and millions. I mean, I spent millions of dollars a month buying those signs. So, and making sure that they worked right in the store, and not every store is right. So there's a lot that goes into it. But let's talk a little bit how overall the strategies that Target uses. And I want to simplify that for you. And that's kind of what I do. And that's what I've kind of been known to do, is take this complex world of marketing, because it is complex. It's too complicated. I take it, I simplify it for people that want to either start a business, or they are doing something where, they want to grow their business and go from there. So let's talk about the branding at first. So brand positioning, which is a marketing term, meaning creating this kind of, you're positioning your product to be what it's going to be known for. People don't understand that you are control as the person who owns the brand. You are in control of that brand, of what people think of that brand. So you want to position it in the way of, you want people to remember your brand by break it down from there, right? So example, Target is really good at talking about affordable quality, right? So expect more, pay less. That is what they do. When it comes to that, Target positions itself as a retailer that offers trendy, high quality products at affordable prices. So looking at Orla Kylie and some of these big brands that they brought in to the home area, to ready to wear, like I remember when we were one of the designers that was coming in, I mean, it was like the UK London lines. It was a hot, like, to get we got our hands on some stuff a little bit early. Like, we were able to buy a little bit early, and it was like, oh my gosh, you got that? That's so awesome. So it was awesome. And you also knew what stores were going to have what. So you were able to bounce around and be like, hey, I want to get these shoes here, or whatever. So understanding like that affordable quality, and the fact that they are different, right? They are so different from Walmart. And Walmart is starting to kind of go down that little more trendy, partnering with bigger names. They're starting to do it at a smaller scale now too. Target kind of, they broke the mold when it came to that. So how can you take that? So understanding, what do you want your brand to be known for? What makes you different? So, as a marketing person, there are a million of us online flapping our gums about marketing and all the things. How I set myself apart is I talk about simplifying marketing, and I also brought in the whole Target aspect, because I did work for Target and I worked there for a really long time, and I can take what they do and simplify it for you as a business owner to use. So those are the things that makes myself and my brand very unique. Now think about what makes you unique. Do you, let's say you offer some kind of a coaching service or a service of some kind. Have you done what you help people with? Have you done that in your life or in your business? If you're a social media manager, have you scaled to hit what other people want that you can then market? So you need to look at that. Look at, have you done what you're trying to sell? What makes you different? What makes you you? What is your story? In the end, it comes down to, we are unique and different because of who we are and what we've experienced. So bring that in to your marketing. And Donald Miller does it best when it comes to storytelling. He's got the whole brand, story brand. If you want to go and dive into that, that's perfectly awesome as far as understanding, how to tell your story in the best way and from telling your story. So it's not really about you, but about the customer. So go dive into those products. But you want to be different. You want to be you. And the easiest way to do that is honestly to infuse your story into that makes you different, right? If you're a health coach, did you overcome something that now you help people overcome as a job? That makes you different. Understanding your brand, because Target has nailed it, you can nail it too. So next, let's talk about your audience. Now, Demographics are something that we at Target, when I was there, they understand fully. They know exactly who is walking in. They've even to prove a point, they have added a place to put your coffee in the cart. They know their audience so well that putting that coffee cup holder as part of their cart and putting child seats, those big carts with the buckle in seats, they understood that their audience is a busy mom who has to run in, get what they need. They've got kids with them. They want to grab that latte as a little treat. They made it more, okay, we understand you. We're going to do some things a little bit different, right? Every inch of that store is designed to help the customer, shop better, do things better, easy. That's what it's for. So they understand their audience. Even though the way the store is laid out is 100% backed by psychology. We've studied the store layout. They understand. And I say we because I was part of the team that also did this. But they at the time, we understood exactly what people need. And understanding your audience is so key. Now, if you ask me, how do I do that? Either read your comments on social media, ask your existing customers questions what is something you struggle with? What is something that I can help you overcome? That audience is going to be a group of collective people who have a similar problem. That becomes your audience, and that is so key when it comes to marketing. So understand your demographics, where do they come from, what is kind of their background, and then what appeals to them. What do they value? What is something that they are struggling with that you can afford or you can help with? That is going to help build who your target audience is. Next, let's talk about the strategy of what it is you sell. I don't care if you're a service-based business. I don't care if you actually have a product to sell. Everybody sells something. You need to understand the strategy of how to get your product marketed to the right people, right? Target does this by having private labels, partnerships, having a really good variety. How can you do this? When you understand what your audience needs and the problems that they solve, you can create a product or service or offer that is going to solve that problem. That becomes your strategy. What is it that you can do that makes you a little bit different, that you can help the person overcome the struggle that they have? Every marketing is basically, honestly, sum it up, it's solving problems, right? It's helping bring that message to the world that I solved this problem for someone and here's how to do it. Now, when we're marketing that product, we don't want to talk about the features. We want to talk about the outcome. What is it going to give that person? How are they going to walk away feeling that, they just watched a webinar from you and they feel like this is the right product or service for you or for them, right? So you want to have a really good product strategy, a really good offer. I like to have a good, better, best when it comes to marketing in my offer suite because I want to offer a low ticket, a medium, and a high. It's up to you how many offers you want, but kind of look at that as well. Let's talk about price. So Target's obviously nailed this as far as having very competitive prices. They do price matching, all of that. You can do this by, like I said, good, better, best. Always go in when let's say you're going to do sales calls for your offer, go in at that middle or even high tier. If somebody says, well, price is a problem, then you go down into the lower tier. Again, that's one of the strategies that you can use. Then let's talk about promoting. Where are you going to get your message out to the world? Social media is free. It is the best place to get noticed. You could also do things like a YouTube channel. I don't consider YouTube as a social media. Check out my TikTok and I'll tell you why. Do things that will get you out there into the world. Target does what we call omni-channel marketing, meaning they're everywhere all of the time. How you can do this is doing things like having your social media set. So like using an app called repurpose.io, you can record on one of the platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels, and then it will take those videos and blast it everywhere. That is the best way to be all of the places so you have a better chance to be seen. Make sure that in your strategy and part of your plan is that you have consistently creating content and ideas, consistently creating those videos to go out. And then also making sure you're having other things like email marketing set up. Depending if you have a brick and mortar, maybe you have open houses. Like there's so many ideas around strategy, around promotional strategy that you can do things like, have a loyalty program, have sales and discounts at certain times. I just did a TikTok about this, but you want to make sure you are always promoting your product or service and talking about what it's going to get people, right? The other thing is, Target does really, really good at customer experience. And I call this in marketing, I call it the customer journey. Target has a very good in-store environment. I know because I spent a lot of time there studying people, studying signage, studying all the things. They also have really good customer service and feedback mechanisms that are really good to understand what customers need. You can implement this strategy by making sure that every part of, like, when a person sees your content and they start to dive into your content, if you're using social media marketing, making sure you have a really good link in bio. I love StanStore because it gives me multiple different ways I can capture them and serve them, but making sure it's very clear. Everything is very clear as to what is next for them. So everything works, is automated. You have everything set up, right? So my StanStore has a bunch of freebies. It also has a done-for-you marketing program that walks you step by step on how to create your own marketing, has templates, website, everything done for you in that program. There's freebies. There's info on ChatGPT. Like there's so many different things, but I have about 5, maybe 6 links within in there, and that is probably enough. You don't want 100 because people get confused, right? And then another thing is understanding your competition. What does that look like? Target does a lot of market research. They're always looking at what is Walmart doing? What is Walmart doing? But making sure you understand what are other people in your industry doing? How can you not copy that, but then take that and turn it into something that's going to set you apart and make you a little bit different when it comes to marketing your business. So that is some information and ways that you can use the target marketing strategies in your business. And I hope you like this video. Hit the subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode.